Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Powerful Group, world's first platform where ROI-based collaborations and networking are done. We collaborate high potential entrepreneurs to visionary investors so that they can make good businesses for all over the world. Today, we are all talking about semiconductors in India. We know how technologically advanced India is in terms of knowledge. We know how we have the cheapest internet connections all over the India. And today, we have a guest who will be throwing light on semiconductors in India. Today, what India is doing, how much scope we have in our Indian market, and globally, how Indian companies can help every company to grow in terms of technology. Today, the discussion would be unfolded. So we have Sudhir Naik sir, who was a founder of eInfochips and who has been a spokesperson for semiconductor with us. Sudhir, thank you for your time today.
It's my pleasure to connect with you, Kunaal, and I love this group and the energy of this group.
Thank you so much, Sudhir sir. So, Sudhir sir, we interacted in length when we were there in Ahmedabad with you. Your passion towards nurturing and giving knowledge to the students and also the upcoming entrepreneurs in this field is really commendable. So, first of all, how did you get into this field, and what was your perspective of semiconductor before you even entered?
So I think there is a little history behind these things. I am brought up in a poor farmer family where I got the electricity when I was in 7th standard. Since I'm the village, I always had in my mind that I want to do something different than most of the people are doing it. My village, my taluka, my district. So and I was with the God grace, I can say that I was highly intellectual and scholar kind of a person. So I scanned the field and I found out that physics is one subject which is taken in my entire district. So I went to Surat from my village to Surat to take principal physics, and I did my first graduation in physics. And my idea was to become a lecturer after doing MSc. But I think I was destined to be something different. So at the same time, there was an electronics engineering course came up in the country. And as universities grabbed that opportunity, there were only 20 seats, but somehow others I got into it and I became electronics engineer way back. After that, at that time, what we did was I am again fortunate to see the entire evolution of the semiconductor industry. We studied while electronics only valves, vacuum tubes, devices. If you remember earlier, there was no word like transistor when we were listening radio.
Yeah.
So when transistor came into the market, radio got converted from vacuum tubes to electronics. And I was always getting thrilled that how this voice comes, how it get transmitted and all those things. So I got my first job in Baroda in Limited, and we started developing power electronics product indigenously. We were Atmanirbhar from that day. And then I got one invitation from him to start one new startup called Hi Rel Electronics. And we had a startup in Hi Rel Electronics, which was in power electronics like variable speed drive, UPS, then programmable logic controllers. So we took that company from zero to at least 100 crore and beyond. Eventually, it got acquired by Hitachi. Subsequently, we started eInfochips somewhere in 1994. At that time, it was not heard. Even chip PLSI or chip for ASIC was not very much known in the country. And if you remember, the motivation for this is started by TI. In 1985, they landed in Bangalore. I think that chip that time we welcomed them. I'll share you some pictures. They brought, because their main company was incorporated in the US, so they need to communicate.
Yeah.
So they asked for the near to airport. So they were given these premises, old airport road, and they started first. In Bullock Cart, they bought the antenna disk and other things to communicate. And they started. And then the entire wave journey started. And today, I think we are around $210 billion worth of ITES we are exporting. Now, when we started the Infosys, we first started one training school in our own premises to create the skill. So that is how we started into it. And then, I call this as a nectar. Once anybody tastes this semiconductor device, I think they cannot live without it. So they breathe, they live.
It is like a banking now. Once a banker, always a banker. Now, anyone who touches this field always get into it. But my question was very related to what is the concentration of the entire nation. If you really look at all the big semiconductor semicon summits and everywhere Narendra Modi is a part of, and everywhere he mentions that the government has kept 100,000 crores worth of Indian rupees to make sure that they can invest and uplift this entire industry. So my question is that what has happened today now that this thing is so much inflated, and what is the hype about, and how much this hype is going to last?
So I think I'll keep bullets on this because otherwise it are hours to discuss. But we have limited sort of time. So you look, I think it is all the consumptions and the supply in engineering or in any business. If there is a consumption, there will be production. If you look at the semiconductor consumption in India, in let's say not beyond much 2020, it was hardly $13 billion, and most of the thing was imported. Now, if you look in 2022, it has become almost 33 billion. In 23, it is going to be 45 billion. And in 2030, it is going to be 100 billion. Now, if that is the situation and the market is going to be 100 billion worth, the electronics goods produced by the semiconductor is going to be in the range of $500 billion. So it will exceed the bill of oil import in the country. That is primary reason. Since the consumption started, also there is a great monsoon for last 10 years. And our GDP is governed by agriculture. Almost 20 to 21% is GDP is contributed by these things. So people have got the money. Government put lot of infrastructure. So people made money. Ports, railways, you name the things, and there is a tons of money is poured into it, and which got so wealth got distributed. So the consumption is there because people have a buying power.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at doing this number that give you the 30,000 feet, we are still producing only 8% of our need of semiconductor in the country. Only 8%. All is imported. Now, this can lose our entire saving or whatever the foreign reserve we have. It can be wiped out only by electronic goods.
Correct.
Also, if you see the recent speech of our external affairs minister, he said next world war is going to be by chip.
Yeah.
And so there's a consumption. There is number two is people have a buying power. The most important parameter for semiconductor to be consumed in this extent globally is the intelligence has gone into all appliances or electrical goods. See, there was no TV or fridge where chips were used. Today, you see that whatever is electrical, it has a chip.
It has a chip.
In my home, I come across 1,000 chips per day using in one form or other. If I have an EV vehicle, it can go up to 3,000 chips. So all this put together, and top of it, Taiwan, China.
Yeah.
Taiwan produces most of the chip actually, TSMC and UMC and all the people. Now, if something goes wrong, we will be worse than the COVID. So it is a political compulsion, geographical compulsion, and the consumptions, which is exponentially growing at the rate of 33%. I think I think you can understand why it is being now and not before.
Lovely, lovely. It just makes a lot of sense right now because India as an infrastructural, we could support the entire thing right now, and it's just the right timing for us, right? Because we are the largest young population in the world. Plus, we concentrate on getting the things very cheaper, and plus what happens is that we are doing much bigger and better things than the rest of the, and it just makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of scope for innovation where there is a necessity, and then obviously semiconductors is everywhere now, right? Because the chips are you.
So what more you should note that we were very early in semiconductor manufacturing actually. SCL, there is a semiconductor limited company in Mohali. It was set up in 1984 before even we get started for our defense requirements and other things.
So we already have history.
We had a history, but what happened that once there is a fire broke out, and then the government was not very serious. That is okay, it is a minuscule requirement, so we will source from Israel here and there actually. So we missed that bus, but we caught on to designing the chips.
So basically what you're saying is that we were early enough to identify the importance. But since it was not that important, oil. So all over the world, when it says that data is the new oil and everything, right? And obviously all the data is run by these data centers, which are obviously run by these semiconductors, the GPUs now of the world and everything. So and as you're saying that this thing can extend the oil imports, that and it is going to not just support the economy, it is going to support every business altogether. Tell me, how confident are you that entrepreneurs that want to get into this field would become successful if they have the right mentorship?
Oh, so see, Indian people are very intelligent, including entrepreneur. And if you look at it, see what India is trying to do right now. I will not go into much of the micro details, but the chips which are measured on the size of the chip, which is considered as a nanometer. So we are going to This Tata first plant in Dholera is going to manufacture 28 nanometer to 65 nanometer chips. Now that covers 45% of the market, total market available. And that goes into white goods and appliances and automotive. Now below 10 nanometer, which is used into mobile and other places, are still 90% is governed by TSMC and 10% by Samsung. So we are going to produce matured processes and proven chips. That is what technology that is we are going to use it. So absolutely, I don't see even 5% chance of not happening because it is proven. People are trained.
How fast we'll get there?
I think 2026 and we will have chip manufacturing I'm talking about. There are so many other people like Micron name has been moving in the market for long actually. TG Power, Keynes, and like Suchi Semiconductor now. All these people are in the packaging. So if you look at the chip history, then it's sent to silicon ingot, then you slice into the wafers, you design the chip, emboss onto the wafer, then those chips goes to these packaging people, they remove the chips, they put it into packaging, and then it goes into market. So we have been designing chip for last 30 years. And I always, you might have heard me earlier also that there is no chip in the world in last 20 years which is produced where the Indian is not residing inside.
Yeah, yeah, you said that before.
In 1,20,000 engineers are designing chip in the country. In the US, there are 400,000 engineers. Out of that, again, 30% are Indian.
Indeed, yeah.
Designing, we are the
Yeah. How so now I will talk on the investor side, right? When it comes to investment in this particular entrepreneur who is going to get mentorship from people like you and to make sure that this happens, from the investor side, how ROI based collaboration is possible? I mean, what is the ROI that he should expect by investing into this in the next coming, like for example, 4 to 5 years?
Okay. So let me again give you the larger pictures first and then we go to the specifics. This is a very complex technology which Paul said and done actually because today if you see even in this mobile there are on small chip there are nothing less than 16 to 17 billion transistors and they are operating at 1 trillion plus transactions per switching per second actually. So to make this thing is not easy. And there are certain other criteria like lithography machine that is produced only by one company in the world in Netherlands. So what happens is that you need a deep pocket, and everybody, entire world realize that. So government of USA has passed the chip law, and they are going to give the grant of $58 billion to those people who are putting up the fab. Europe has come out with 42 billion euro, and India has come out with $10 billion to start with, and then second phase will be coming of around 15 billion. That is what the discussion is going on with the MIT and the people. And since nobody will have ROI for this if they put all the money, so central government has devised a scheme that they will provide 50% of the subsidy on the investment what an individual is make, and 20 to 30% is given by states. Like Gujarat is giving 20 to 25%, Odisha is giving 30% likewise actually. So you are putting only 30%
Money, yeah.
money. Also, there will be some JV partner with you from foreign company to get the technology. So when you put that kind of money only, I think, and with this consumption need, I think it is a question of when are you starting the manufacturing.
So how much in a number I'll say like for example if a person in gets 100 rupee in this particular business, I mean 100 rupees is very less because all our investors are all about crore, so if 100 rupees invested today in the next 4 years, what will that 100 rupee become?
So that will, I think there are two aspects. One is how much you produce and what will be the revenue. And number two is the market cap. Now, market caps are already shooting.
Yeah.
You look at the shares price of CG Power, you look at the share price of Keynes. I think it is unassuming.
Yeah. So let's keep market cap aside. Evaluation of the company is absolutely a different ball game, and
If 48 is the normal standard period, because to start with, China has put up 5 fab with Intel Capital and all those people investing into them. They took 4 years roughly.
yeah,
But since
that also depends on the brand presence and everything else. So let's talk about like 100 rupee invested without the market cap. How much is the investor gonna get in like 4 years?
once he start the production, I think in another couple of years he will make break even, and thereafter he will get double the money. You look at
100% ROI is basically what is. In 4 years, it would be 100% ROI. Where if I distribute, it is 33% upbringing every year, right? Lovely. So now let's since we just spoke about entrepreneurs, the species spoke about investors and their returns. Now you have spent a lot of time, mentoring students in and around, because you are empaneled with so many universities and everything. So how is the sentiment with the students, and are they really understanding the need? Because it becomes very difficult for a student to understand this in terms of practical, accessibility and execution of these kind of products. So how what is the sentiment there?
So again, it is a demand supply. Even for students, it's demand supply and what they hear and what they see on social media. So there are waves coming in. So there was IoT wave, and then blockchain wave, and now AI wave, and then mobile wave. So what happens is people were all primarily look at our the social bonding. What I suppose what my child wants to do, it depends what I am suggesting, what my friends are doing, and what their friends are doing, children's friends are doing. So everybody talks on IoT. So people have moved on to IoT. So electronics per se, the branch was almost shut down in most of the colleges because there were no enrollment. So when this buzz started in the 2022 by Narendra Modi, by that semiconductors wave I think he created, and by now in 2024, and I think everybody talks about semiconductor. It has become the buzzword. So if you look in the newspaper, every day there are enrollment. First time I just take only one case. There is a DAICT university in Gandhinagar. They said, okay, we will have 60 students because it was not getting filled up. This is the first time they got 2 to 3 times the people wanted to join the course. Same thing with the NIMA, same thing with the pool, same thing with GTU. So everybody is getting into it now. They do not know more fundamental thing that I will just give you some number of the salary for these students. 3 to 8 years experienced people will earn anywhere 30 lakhs per annum to 1 crore per annum. Now that is not available in any of the software industry. Again, AI is going to replace most of the mundane job, but these electronics will not go.
This is amplifying.
So I call it a yagna. So I said that I am doing yagna in Gujarat with other people to bring the awareness. So I have a seminar in Surat, I had a seminar in Rajkot, in the Ahmedabad, and just go and do the drumming. What is there for you in it? Why you should take semiconductor? And I think now we are going to produce good number of people. Also, we started some of the courses. We call it a finishing school. That you are from any other branch, take 1 year course in verifications or in manufacturing or in designing or in layout, and you get the job. Job is assured. Job is assured. So people have to, awareness has to be created, which is done now. Now it is done.
Because of people like you, this next generation have really, taken this step forward to understand and to make sure that India, and as we are moving towards making India the human superpower of the world, this is going to have a very drastic pillar. This would be a very huge pillar to make sure that that happens. So Powerful Group is all about, combining this entire powers and creating that huge force, so that the world creates more employment, the world creates more job creators and job seekers. Together, they make sure that we all have, prosperity and health, wealth, and happiness. So how are you going to use the Powerful Group platform, and what will be your message when you come to our event in December?
I tell you, I tell the people that in today's world, if you are not aware about electronics and AI, then you are illiterate. And if you want to become an entrepreneur, this is the right time because there are a lot of government schemes. There are at least 1,20,000 startups in the country right now. But if you go specific to the semiconductor, why I'm talking about Powerful Group, that because I breathe semiconductor. So I know at least there are 10 startups who are at some stage and they are wanting for the funds. Now, if I expose them to the group like Powerful Group, so you are having investor, you are having a people who need this fund to make this big thing. So I my message will be very simple. I will use this platform to take it to the most of the people, not only in Gujarat. Since I'm on the board for Indian Electronics and Semiconductor Association, I am responsible for the entire nations to make sure that the semiconductor proliferates actually. IESA is doing three things: education, government, and industry. We connect all these three people. That is our job. So we will use Powerful Group platform to proliferate all the people that be aware money is available. It all depends how good you are and how much you are going to give ROI. I think once I think they come, see, it is about awareness. I think once they become aware about this kind of resources available, I think the opportunities are plenty for both startup as well as for Powerful Group.
Lovely. Thank you so much for your time and your message today. And to the audience, if you want to connect with Sudhir sir, you can just drop your message to powerfulgroup.com/connect. and we will send the message to him. And if he finds really attractive about your whatever you want to say, then obviously we'll try to connect with him. Sudhir sir, thank you so much for your time today and your contribution towards making India a great and awesome country. And thank you everyone for having us. And I hope that you come to the meeting because you have a slot of speaking. So that's
Yeah, sure. I love to be there, and thanks for finding me out and connecting me with you, Mitchell. I think we can do much better job than what we are doing right now with your help. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.